Have you ever walked into a crowded room yet felt completely invisible? You smile, you talk, but deep down, you realize your presence doesn't really matter. The messages you send are ignored, your words are drowned out, and slowly, you start asking yourself, do I even matter to anyone? Moments like these push you to prove your worth, to try harder, to be more patient, to give more. But the harder you try, the more you are overlooked. Because when you chase validation, you unknowingly place others above yourself. But here's a truth few people realize. You don't need to be liked by everyone. Your value is not defined by how many people text you back or how often your name comes up in conversations. And it certainly doesn't mean you have to sacrifice your self-respect just to gain attention. Stop. Take a step back. Why are you letting someone else's recognition determine how you see yourself? The people who truly care about you won't make you beg to be heard. They won't treat you like an option. Today, I'm going to share 5 principles that will help you reclaim your power. These aren't quick tricks to make you feel better temporarily. They're a way to build a version of yourself that is strong, confident, and unshakable. You don't need to seek approval. You don't need to beg for attention. You deserve respect, and it's time you take it back. So, are you ready? 1. The power of distance when you're no longer easily accessible. Have you ever noticed that people crave what they can't easily have? Think about it. When a door is always open, no one rushes to walk through it. When someone is always available, no one fears losing them. But when your presence becomes rare, when your attention is no longer free, that is when you truly become valuable. Most people don't realize this. When they're ignored, their instinct is to do more, give more, prove more, make themselves even more available. But this is the biggest mistake. Look at those who command real influence. They don't chase. They don't beg. They don't seek validation. Their rarity makes them desirable. And you can do the same. When someone starts neglecting you, stop. Don't try to pull them back. Step away gracefully and deliberately. Disappear, not out of anger or revenge, but because you understand your worth. You are no longer the person who waits around, no matter how they treat you. Use that time to invest in yourself. Make your life so full that you no longer even notice their absence. When you become someone who is hard to reach, someone who isn't always available, you'll see how people start viewing you differently. And soon, they'll start wondering, why aren't they waiting for my message anymore? Why don't they care like they used to? Have I lost them? That's when you regain your power. Not by doing more, but by making yourself less available. 2. The art of subtle influence. Make them chase the mystery. Imagine this. You send a thoughtful message, carefully worded, filled with meaning. You wait, expecting a response. But instead, silence. Again. Your instinct might urge you to fix the situation, send another message, clarify your intent, prove your worth. But before you do, ask yourself, why do I feel the need to chase? Does it make sense to invest more energy in someone who has already chosen not to respond? Here's the truth. Desperation is never attractive. It repels rather than draws people in. The more you explain, overgive, or pour your emotions into long messages, the more predictable, needy, and easy to ignore you become. The solution. Stop giving everything away. Stoicism teaches us to act with intention and to control our responses. When faced with silence, you don't respond with panic, you respond with precision. And that's where the breadcrumb strategy comes in. Instead of flooding their inbox with emotion, you leave just enough to spark curiosity. A breadcrumb doesn't beg for attention, it invites it. It lingers in their mind, makes them wonder, and most importantly, shifts the power dynamic. How to plant the right breadcrumbs. Most people, when ignored, send something like, "Hey, did I do something wrong? Are you mad at me? Why aren't you responding?" But this approach only reinforces your lower value in the conversation. It makes the other person feel pursued, and pursuit often leads to avoidance. Instead, drop something subtle, something open-ended, something that pulls them in rather than pushes them away. Instead of saying, "Why haven't you answered? Try this. You just crossed my mind. Funny timing." Or even better, something intriguing like, "I just remembered something about you that made me laugh," and then say nothing else. What does this do? It's ambiguous, which makes it impossible to ignore. It creates mystery, forcing them to wonder what you're thinking. It reverses the dynamic. Now they are the ones curious about you. Humans are wired to be drawn to what they don't fully understand. By leaving gaps in the conversation, you make them want to fill in the blanks. The key is to stay in control. You're not seeking validation, you're subtly pulling them into your world. You're not chasing, you're giving them just enough to make them lean in. So the next time someone ignores you, don't pour your heart out in desperation. Drop a breadcrumb. Leave them wondering. And most importantly, carry yourself with the quiet confidence of someone who doesn't need a reply to know their worth. 3. Flipping the power dynamic. Make them invest in you. There's a crucial psychological rule. We value what we invest in. Think about something you spent a lot of money on. You're likely to treasure it more than something you got for free, right? The same principle applies to human relationships. If you're always the one putting in time, effort, and emotional energy while the other person simply enjoys the benefits, the power dynamic becomes unbalanced. So instead of constantly giving, make them invest in you. How to make them invest? Get them to share about themselves. People feel closer to those they open up to. Ask thoughtful questions that encourage them to talk about their dreams, passions, or past experiences. When they invest in expressing their thoughts and emotions with you, they subconsciously feel more connected. Let them initiate. If you're always the one texting first, you're training them to expect it. Take a step back. Give them space to reach out. When someone has to work for your attention, they appreciate it more. Ask for small favors. It doesn't have to be anything big, just a book recommendation, a movie suggestion, or a minor favor. Studies show that when someone does something for you, they unconsciously feel more invested in the relationship. Don't overgive when you're receiving nothing. Relationships should be a two-way street. If someone isn't putting in effort, match their energy. Let them realize that your presence is something they have to earn. When you subtly shift the balance, they start valuing you differently, not as someone who is always available, but as someone worth keeping. 4. Leveling up becomes someone they regret losing. Nothing is more attractive than growth. If someone ignores you, don't waste time overanalyzing. Use that time to become better physically, mentally, emotionally. Here's the reality. People are drawn to those who evolve. Instead of chasing them, focus on upgrading yourself in ways that naturally pull them and others toward you. Ways to elevate yourself. Read new books. Expand your knowledge and perspective. Become someone who always has something interesting to say. Pick up a new skill. Whether it's learning a language, playing an instrument, or taking up photography, growth makes you more magnetic. Invest in your fitness. Confidence skyrockets when you feel good in your own skin. Refocus on your career or passion. Build something for yourself. Ambition is attractive. Now imagine this scenario. They see you again after some time, except now you're glowing. You're radiating energy, confidence, and a sense of purpose. You're not the person they once took for granted. And in that moment, they'll realize what they lost. But by then, you'll be too busy thriving to even care. 5. Becoming unforgettable. Leave a lasting mark. What makes someone crave your presence? What makes a person impossible to forget? It's not about trying too hard. It's not about constantly seeking validation. It's about being someone so uniquely yourself that your absence is deeply felt. The people who linger in our minds aren't the ones who begged for attention. They are the ones who carried an undeniable presence, who lived fully, loved deeply, and stood firmly in their own worth. So, if you want to be unforgettable, stop trying to impress and start focusing on being. How to become someone they can't forget. Have a life that doesn't revolve around them. The most magnetic people are those who have their own passions, ambitions, and adventures. They don't wait for someone else to complete them because they are already whole. When you cultivate a rich, fulfilling life, you naturally become someone others want to be around, not because you need them, but because your energy is contagious. Carry confidence, even in solitude. Confidence isn't about arrogance. It's about assurance. It's about knowing that whether you're in a crowded room or completely alone, your worth remains unchanged. People are drawn to those who don't seek approval, but instead radiate a quiet, unshakable self-assurance. Create experiences that leave an imprint. The people we remember most are the ones who made us feel something. Be the person who sparks laughter, deep conversations, or unexpected adventures. Be the one who listens intently, who makes others feel seen, who brings passion into every moment. Master the art of presence and absence. When you're around, be fully present, engaged, curious, and alive in the moment. And when you're gone, don't always be readily available. Let people feel your absence. Let them wonder what you're up to. Let them miss you. Be irreplaceable, not by trying but by being. The truth is, you don't become unforgettable by chasing, pleasing, or proving your worth. You become unforgettable by simply being someone they can't replace. Someone who, once lost, leaves a space no one else can quite fill. 6. Reigniting connection through nostalgia, the power of shared memories. Have you ever heard an old song and instantly felt a wave of warmth wash over you? Have you ever caught the scent of something familiar and in an instant been transported back to a long-forgotten moment? That's the undeniable power of nostalgia. Memories are not just events. They are experiences imprinted with emotion. And when people drift apart, they don't forget the connection. They simply forget what it felt like. Nostalgia has the unique ability to bring those feelings back, almost as if no time has passed. So when someone pulls away, instead of chasing, instead of pleading for attention, do something far more powerful. Remind them how it felt to be close to you. How to use nostalgia to spark emotion. Instead of sending another generic, "Hey, how are you?" which is easy to ignore, reignite the connection by bringing up a shared experience that once meant something to both of you. Try something like, "I just remembered the time we get completely lost and stumbled into that tiny caf. Still one of the best days ever." What happens when they read this? Their mind travels back to that moment. They relive the laughter, the warmth, the adventure. They don't just remember you, they remember how they felt around you. Suddenly, your message isn't just text on a screen. It's a doorway back to a time they cherished. Another simple yet powerful message. I saw something today that reminded me of what you once said. Still makes me laugh. This does two things. It makes them curious. What did I say? What was so funny? It subtly reminds them of the dynamic, effortless connection you once shared. And here's the secret. When you bring up a memory, you're not just reminding them of you, you're reminding them of the version of themselves that existed when they were with you. And that's something people find very, very hard to ignore. Why nostalgia works like magic. People don't miss other people. They miss how they felt around them. When life moves forward, emotions fade. But nostalgia is the bridge between the past and the present. It reignites those emotions in a way nothing else can. It's why a song can make you miss someone you haven't thought about in years. It's why an old photograph can bring back emotions you thought were long gone. It's why the right words can make someone feel again, even if they thought they had moved on. If you want to reconnect, don't ask for attention. Reawaken emotion. Make them feel something, and suddenly, you won't be so easy to forget. You don't need to beg for attention. Here's how to make them unable to forget you. Think about the most unforgettable people you've ever met. Were they the ones who constantly chased attention, pleaded for replies, or desperately tried to stay relevant? No. Unforgettable people don't beg to be remembered. They naturally command attention, not by asking for it, but by becoming someone so intriguing, so magnetic, and so emotionally impactful that their presence lingers even when they're not around. If you feel like someone is slipping away, if you're tempted to double text, over-explain, or prove your worth, pause. The moment you start chasing, you hand over all your power. Instead, do something entirely different.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.